Hey y'all, what's up? We are back for week 7 of Super Draft Bros Season 5. I'm here at last with the one, the only Ikana.
Hello, friends. It's nice to be here with my good buddy Bestrin, my D&D pal, watching some Pokemon.
Yes, indeed. It took us a while. Scheduling woes are already difficult, always difficult, but we made it and we're ready to watch some mods, aren't we?
Definitely. I think the best part of Mons is seeing what little character everyone picks, and I think it's usually I don't know if it's a reflection of their personality or if it's just a person that they like, but I like to think it's chosen with purpose.
Well, right here we got the Sailor and the Hiker between Nathan and Bombi for our first match. How do you analyze these avatar picks? What do you think of Sailor Bombi?
Uh, Sailor Bomby, I think it fits the bill. I think he's in the crow's nest. He's got his binoculars. He's always cooking. He's always looking. And we know Natho is stoic, much like a mountain. And
He's one with nature, I think,
truly,
is the message that I'm getting here. All right, let's
I
get it started. So
feel
Bobby
like this
has
has become
been,
kind of like the Bomby team, right? This is the crew.
yeah, that Slow King Arctozolt combo. Inte and Bisharp are always threats on their own, and then two filler mons, kind of based on the matchup.
Exactly, exactly.
We see Nathan.
Togekiss is always a legitimate threat.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, I feel like whenever it doesn't show up, you're always like, oh, cool. I don't really have to deal with that. Um, this is about what I expected from Natho as well. You know, Zarude is always pretty deadly. Um, Florges would have had a hard time here, so it's probably good he didn't bring it. And Araquanid is always pretty tough, but definitely some counterplay around it. Let's see what happens.
okay, right off with Nidoqueen into the Tauros. Nido's got a nice matchup here because Bobby's team isn't all that fast. Of course, he does have the Taurus and the Entei, but I think it outspeeds everything else, which is
And
pretty
it
good for a wall breaker.
is very ground weak.
Oh yeah,
Very ground weak. So Nidoqueen does look good. Definitely want to preserve that. Silvally Water is like, I just feel like classic as well. Water's a great type. Very good defensive type.
yeah, excellent into that Taurus. And Nathan's gonna he love these setup Silvales are kind of like becoming his thing in my eyes. These
Definitely.
Sword Stance Trailblaze.
Hmm.
Sub Nidoqueen, very interesting. That burn actually ended up being pretty impactful because it's going to chip away at Nido's health pretty quickly.
Right. Expected. You always the double sub is I don't know. I never expect when Arctic does anything other than like just choice band because it's still really slow, or even Scarf. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
this is less expected because I think sub is one of those moves. I don't know. I always see it recommended on these fossil Pokemon,
mhm.
but I rarely ever see it taken. Um, but I
I
just want to
guess
point out,
you almost always get a switch. No, hardly does the thing that's in want to take whatever the fossil Pokemon is dishing out, but it definitely provides options.
yeah, and I'll say that we see the Slow King Chili Reception on the Mandibuzz, and obviously the Mandibuzz doesn't want to be put in front of the Arctozolt, but also neither
No,
does the Nidoqueen really.
no, nothing other than I guess Golem really wants to be here.
Yeah,
This was
and
an unfortunate miss as well, but
yeah,
it would have resisted. So I don't,
it it was 99% chance to break the sub,
uh-huh.
so it would have broken the sub if it had hit basically. But yeah,
Sure, sure.
he's in a really tough position because it looks like there's only one Mon on his team that can really
Come
survive
in
an
right
Arctozolt.
now. Everything's got a bad look in
And
front of a subbed Arctozolt.
yeah, I was gonna say the Golem seems to be the primary answer, but not when there's a sub up. So he's gonna lose his arrow for nothing, sadly, because of the miss.
You can never know when you're gonna force something out, especially when it's behind sub.
Hmm. And it's
Little
hard to say what
little stack up
this
battle.
last move for Arctozolt is. I guess you have to assume it's not
It's not
EQ
low
or low
sweep, right?
kick. Yeah, or else it would have stayed in
Or
there.
low kick, I suppose, would be the weight one, not the speed one.
Because otherwise, he would have just traded the sub for a hit. So,
Mm-hmm.
information
Cause
behind that.
yeah, it would have done some damage.
This golem actually turns things in Nathan's favor because it's going to win this boosting battle.
Right, right. Cudchu, I think, gets revealed in just a second, but still, you know.
Kutchu's important because it's the only thing that made this close.
Right, exactly. But it's still maybe not enough. Wow, that was a hefty body
Yeah,
press on the Slow King.
yeah, and man, that was a big chunk of damage. If that had taken out the Slow King, this would have been
That would have been a
maybe
very different
one
game,
more
you know?
chance for Nathan. Yeah.
Was no
Um,
more chilly reception. Arctozolt has to come in and be slow, and
mhm.
from this position, other than Boss Sharp, Nihilego has a
Actually, if
pretty good look here too.
yeah, if that Slow King dies, this Nihiligo might have just swept. Um, because that is choice specs damage. So as long
Yeah,
as it's
yeah.
faster than everything, it kills everything. This is funny.
The super boosted foul play was pretty
The
funny.
second sword stance is like, oh yeah, no way he has knockoff and foul play, and
I
then
mean,
Nathan
fair,
does
fair.
have knockoff and foul play, so he just dies for it.
I mean, what else is Mandibuzz gonna do? And I feel like Bisharp can't really touch Mandibuzz in the same way either. That didn't
No,
do
not without boosting.
anything. Weezing has zero special defense.
Here, I thought there was a chance. I thought this because I wasn't running the calcs. I thought this was scarfed, and looking at it, I was like, oh, because if this is scarfed, it outspeeds Sludge Rush Zolt.
Right.
Um, but
Entei still probably lives a hit if it's full.
yeah, well, if it was scarfed with the
Oh,
special
with plus
attack,
one, probably
yeah,
not.
I thought
But
I could have won. But it was not scarfed, it was spexed, which meant this still outsped it, and it was just over at that point. Nathan said the win con was for this boosted power gem, this specs power gem to one shot Slow King. And that was pretty close. It was
yeah,
close.
yeah.
And really came down to this switch here, huh? Sends in the Slow King, immediately switches out, gets one more turn of Regenerator, and
That
that
was very
saves
smart.
him.
Yeah, because if it took the knockoff or only had the one region, that was it.
That would have
So that was
been
very good awareness from Balmy to you
yeah.
know,
I mean,
keep it alive.
yeah,
Know his win con.
Entei might have had like stomping tantrum, but if it's choice locked, then that's game.
I'm sure it did, but it at that point, even with everything on the field, I'm not sure Entei could beat Silvally Water. It would depend on what kind of set he had.
True, true.
Although Silvally doesn't have any recovery or an item, so tough one.
So yeah, that extra turn of regen made all the difference, and nicely done.
Agreed.
That plus the arrow miss and the cool subset. I think the subset got him a lot of mileage because this Artisolt walked away with 5 kills. It was clearly
I
the
think it
MVP.
it also was a little bit of a shakeup in the beginning. You see that thing go behind a sub, and you're like, ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do we do here? What's getting sacked? Something has to die.
Right.
That was a good game though. I enjoyed that one. It was one of my top ones of the week.
Okay. Speaking of sacking, I think this one is a good example of that. This is gonna be red shirt against James.
Yep.
Pretty predictable teams here. I mean, this is a pretty common team for James. Plus the might be the first Pheasantipity we've seen.
Might have been there last week.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
But it makes total sense against the Regidrago. You always want to have your
Of
fairy.
course. Yeah, even though Regidrago gets Earthquake and Earth Power in Gen 9, it's still a very good check into it because it is a pretty limited Pokemon. It can Dragon Dance or it can be Choice Scarf. Well, most of the time.
The balloon makes is a great choice for it. Really.
I wonder if he had Technician. because he did not get a single toxic chain.
Oh. Is it on every attack?
It's literally every attack.
It's not
Pheasandipity's
like,
kind of nuts.
wow. Okay.
So I think if you like, there's a couple sets where you can use like double kick and tail slap and stuff like that, and I think it's per hit.
That's funny. Okay, so Fazandipity is going to bring the Ogerpon in. Skull does not burn, and wow, tanks that Sludge Wave. And now he's going to go to work.
Ogerpon's got really good base stats, and Hornleech was really smart. Nothing really wants to come in to Ogerpon here, although the water type maybe wasn't the best call. But you know, Sceptile and Tauros Blaze aren't going to do too much. We'll see Tauros Blaze come in a second and it backfires, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Because of the Defiant, so
even worse.
Right. It resisted does 52, and I think Ogerpon's faster.
He's got Stomping Tantrum coverage. So the Regidrago is the only thing that can scare it out. It just didn't want to come in on the sword stance.
Probably doesn't have play. He could have play rough, then that would definitely kill Drago. But if Drago's scarfed, then you know,
right?
Definitely will kill.
So Scarf Dragon Energy is probably what we're seeing there. This could have been specs.
Almost. It could be specs, but it's pretty darn slow. And I find Alex16 and I found that the specs damage on a full HP Dragon Energy was pretty, like the difference between that and Scarf was pretty negligible.
Yeah.
So Sniff Shoes comes back out.
Yeah, and this thing's going to come in for free on the Regidrago all game until that balloon gets popped.
Yep.
But once again, uses to get
the Rock Tomb.
The Rock Tomb coverage. I know that you can basically just tell this Ogerpon was just perfectly crafted to hit all the mons that would usually check it.
Air Slash.
I guess it's interesting. Because I was gonna say it might be offensive running a move like Air Slash, but it's running the Rocky Helmet.
It probably was just a coverage thing, and I wonder if he thought it was gonna kill.
Sometimes you see Hurricane on Mantine, and I don't like running Hurricane Mantine, but in that situation,
would have done well if it hits, you know.
Yep.
White Herb, Leaf Storm. I like that triggering of Unburden.
Yeah,
I don't actually think about that one too often.
The Sceptile we haven't seen enough of, because this thing can sometimes just win. Unburden is such a dangerous ability.
It really is. It's just limited by being a mono grass.
Yes.
Grass is a kind of mid offensive typing in the grand scheme of things, and I'm not sure how its coverage is, but it must not be honestly all that great.
If
it's sitting as low in.
Leaf Blade, X Scissor, Earthquake has super effective coverage on this entire team, except.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, and Fez, just you gotta pop the air balloon first.
But this is not Leaf Blade, X Scissor, Earthquake.
We like acrobatics.
It's mixed, which is very cool. I said that in a disappointing manner because it's not what he needs to win. But I do like this set. I do respect that you brought it.
Mixed sets are good. Yo, you should use them more.
But unfortunately, there's no way that a mixed Sceptile, a mixed anything is breaking Ogre.
Flame or Belly Bolt. No toxic for you. What's that? Toxic, slack off, sub.
Yeah.
Probably parabolic charge.
Absolutely. Parabolic charge. And slack
Just
off.
Keeps coming in. Gotta keep clicking Leaf Blade, I suppose, instead of acrobatics because it's resisted.
No, Leaf Blade was the only move left, but it was pretty over at this point. This guy's not gonna get broken. He's also gonna leave with a sub, so Drago's not gonna break, and even if Drago comes back in,
then Fez comes out like that. Although intentionally.
So I mean, really, the Ogerpon, kudos to Ogerpon for breaking more than half the team or half the team, and then
that was a strong opening. That was a very strong opening.
The Fazandipity took advantage of the Reggie to keep momentum, and I love the
explosion to keep the differential down.
Beautiful.
Defiant is such an interesting ability because sometimes I find, obviously it's very team dependent, but sometimes it is so hard to get going, and other times you're like, yeah, I got this. This is simple.
It carries a lot of weight in prep.
It does. Oh, I can't bring Defog. I can't bring Intimidate Tauros,
Exactly.
That sort of thing. And
Um,
he's got just enough bulk that he can switch into something and it be either a 50-50 or just like a mistake, and he
absolutely.
takes the ice beam or the sludge wave or whatever and doesn't die for it.
Yep.
So you get one more chance. Or you can force out something else.
All right. Up next, we've got your match
It's
against
me!
Little Bows.
Oh, I didn't talk about the avatars last time. I don't really know what James's is. It's
I
just
think
like
James
classic
is default
person from
Gen
what's that,
5.
like Diamond Pearl? Yeah, the one after,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe.
I think that's an elite trainer for red shirt. Love it.
Yes. Classic
Um,
choices.
I love Lil Boosie's guy. That guy's sick. Look at that cloak. Look at that hat. And I have no idea why, but I've always picked what's her name, Elise, I think. That's like Super Elise, where she's gone crazy or something, or maybe I'm just mixing her up. My Pokemon lore is that Jin is pretty bad.
I don't even know what game she's from.
I want to say it's Black and White or Black and White 2,
Okay.
but they all blend together.
Well, this guy, he has secrets. He
He
is armed
definitely
with knowledge.
he creates up his
He
sleeve.
knows,
Those sleeves aren't big for nothing.
yeah, this guy knows many things. Unfortunately, he doesn't know about Palisand.
No. So this game in particular, I was honestly pretty happy to see the team that showed up because I was terrified of Galvantula. Galvantula like rolled my team with Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and Thunder, and Palossand could kind of handle it, but it would have required. He had a lot of responsibility this game, and too much like pressure
Yeah.
definitely would have popped his little sandcastle self.
So how did you feel about this lead matchup? Because the Overquill Intimidate seems like a good answer into the Cleavor.
If I was a traditional, not traditional, but if I was like the classic Cleavor Scarf set, this would have been perfect because I would have hit a U-turn or a Stone Axe for like 12 damage.
Right.
But because I was Swords Dance and he did, I knew that he must think I'm gonna switch out because I'm now intimidated or something like that. So I was really happy to get a Swords Dance on the spikes, and then at that point I'm sashed, so I know I can get at least like one or two more.
Yeah. I guess this is a case where he made the right move, and based on the read, like, oh, this is probably a lead scarf, then the spikes are the best move there, but he actually pays for it.
Right,
The
right.
Swords Dance.
Just a little subverting expectation. I have Trailblaze, because I accomplished the same thing as a Scarf suicide lead, but I just was able to get more out of it by mixing it up this time.
Toxic breaks
Toxic
the sash, but you got the second
breaks the
Swords
sash, but at
Dance.
that point I wasn't as concerned with it. Although with the Toxic now, without Toxic, Reversal barely puts me
I forgot
into
about
like
the
a killable
reversal.
position.
This was very cool.
But I actually think if he was, I don't know if he was Bandit or Scarf Slitherwing, but I'm pretty sure First Impression comes out and kills.
Yeah.
Almost for sure.
Yeah.
But there's counterplay for that. But
The reversal,
yeah,
the reversal tech was cool. We love seeing Custap Berry.
that Berry's awesome.
I just
I
didn't
think
choose the right mon to come out after that.
Reversal is based on how much damage you took
No,
or something.
it's based off of missing health, so it was pretty close to max
Oh,
damage.
okay. Oh man, what if he was like Endeavor? Oh
Yeah,
man,
Destiny or
when
Destiny
Peter
Bond.
rolled me with Endeavor, that was that was something.
That was rough.
Um,
Yeah, when I saw Custap, I was hoping to see Destiny Bond. But the reversal's
yeah, oh that would have been cool. I would not have expected that. I think
Um,
it is absolutely insane that Rock does not resist Rock.
Yeah. Oh, I get rock. I get rock resistances wrong all the time. I lost a game a while ago because I thought grass resisted rock, and it also does not.
Why would it?
Good question.
Why give Grass something good? So yeah, I think we after the game we talked and he said he was full special defense, which was perfect for my calcs because Dianacy while having amazing defensive stats has terrible HP, and especially at plus 2.5,
Yep.
it was definitely gonna kill.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it didn't kill Overquill, to be honest. I think he must have thought I was going to switch out, but I designed Sarina for like this Pokemon. This was my Thundy switch in, or at least Punisher.
Right. It's
I
unfortunate
guess
because
he probably thought maybe Volt Switch into Palossand, and a knockoff would have been pretty bad for me.
mhm.
That definitely hurt the end game.
Yeah, yeah, you can see the vision there trying to read the Palisand switch end. Um, but he's going to
But
pay the price because, of course, the grass type has ice type move.
triple axel, right? Absolutely.
I
I
kind of
had
assume he didn't know about that move, or else he might not have taken that risk. Um, just
no
my
my big
interpretation.
bluff of the game was at that I don't actually have a grass move on it, but that was made irrelevant by Quagsire not being here.
Fair.
But I was hoping that Star comes out and is like, haha, you have to switch, and then I knock off U-turn Metagross and it dies or something like that. Oh, this was like the perfect interaction. This is exactly what I wanted to happen, and it's satisfying when your sets pay off.
Infestation. Yeah, the creativity here goes rewarded. Infestation, Shore Up, Rocky Helmet. What else are we gonna get? And Nightshade.
I had to do Nightshade instead of Earth Power or Shadow Ball because Slitherwing takes like 12 damage,
Oh,
12% from a Shadow Ball.
I think the Nightshade is perfect. This was a really clever set, and it sealed the game.
Yeah, this was a good game. It was nice to get a win after 4 losses in a row. If I win my next 2 games, I could potentially make it into playoffs, but we'll see. Big game against Boz on Thursday.
Got some dark horses. All right.
Oh, we just got some classic sprites here. These are just 2 Pokemon trainers going at it, you know?
Yeah, this is the battle where you're walking the Pokemon Center and you see this on the side of the road.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is Silly Nips and Chris.
Yeah. And pretty familiar look from both sides. The Killer Watchful's been coming out despite not being one of the better Pokemon on that roster. But
it's fast. It's so fast. A fast pivot's nice. But having drafted it myself this time around, it's okay. I think I like Electrode H better for my sort of speedy electric type.
Nip's team is pretty familiar. I think second time seeing the Spiritomb, first time for the Cinccino.
I believe so, but this is definitely the game for it.
Yeah.
Against this team in particular, once Suicune is gone, it has a pretty good time.
Yeah, Cinccino, I mean, just from looking at it, I mean, if you're looking out for Tail Slap and Bullet Seed and Triple Axle, which is what it usually carries, the Arcanine does really well into that. The Suicune does decently well. Maybe the Muck if they're strong enough. But I mean, this thing hits so hard with.
It really does, and Muck Alola is great, but it's really only good special defensively. It's very much lacking in like regular defense bulk.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with the pressure.
For the Monotype League, and it's so powerful with Loaded Dice, Technician, Tail Slap, Tidy Up. I mean, it destroys everything that doesn't resist it, really.
No Steel type this time. I feel like because Silly Nips hasn't been bringing it, so I don't need to really worry about it because it's completely walled by a Steel type. It has really nothing for it.
Does Chris have a Steel? Which one? I'm sure they do.
I am sure they do as well.
There's Trevenant, Ghost type, Mimikyu, Ghost type.
They don't.
No I
was thinking of Redshirt, who has Registeel.
Registeel, yeah, me too. All right, well, let's get into it. Man, I think Nips is the one. There's 2 Darms in our league, and I think Nips has been the one leading with it. It's so scary to lead with it.
He's the U-turn Darm. He sits there and he's like, hey, what if I click U-turn on my Scarf Darm? And then he does, and it works. Mm-hmm.
It's like the game plan is just to get this guy in as often as possible and make him deal as much damage over the course of the game as possible.
And then maybe last couple turns you can click Flare Blitz or Earthquake, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just keep clicking U-turn. Mm-hmm. I love Buy Me a Pizza. Great name. As I was watching this earlier, they each have a Pokemon named MVP.
Yes, they do, and they were out at the same time.
He has deviated from his natural set and went from Scarf Guard to Specs
Specs.
Guard.
We are seeing specs. I don't like the double ice beam click there because Surf is great. Surf is so good in this
Well,
team,
he's locked in now. He just got spec'd.
but he wasn't choiced after the first one.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure what he thought was coming in. Maybe a saucy Mandibus switch or something.
I know, but Scald is so good into the whole team. It's just
It is. Yeah, nothing really wants to get burned here at all.
Mm-hmm. Clicking Scald there.
Moonblast is
'cause in the
even without specs. Geez, you know,
yeah.
even without specs, just 40% to a Muck A.
Oh, and here comes Billy Bob.
This is when things get real.
Stone Edge. These Muck and Alolan Muck movesets we've been seeing have been unhinged. We saw Thunder Muck last week. Now it's Stone Edge Muck A.
It does whatever it wants, and in Gen 9 they gave it Drain Punch, which I think is insane. So now it's even better and has slightly more reliable recovery.
Yeah. But speaking of recovery, Billy Bob's going to heal off all of that damage. Because we're seeing a classic Spiritomb Rest Talk set.
I think he just needed to...
With Curse, of course, because that's what they're all running in SPL these days is Rest Talk, Curse, Spiritomb. There's just really no way to break a Pokemon that can heal to full every 3 turns.
And man, this was so funny. I don't know what if Nips thought he was like you not using a ghost Pokemon, forgot Curse worked differently for ghost Pokemon, or if this was genuinely his original intention. But with Sleep Talk, I feel like it just couldn't have been.
Yeah, coming up with something otherworldly there. I don't
truly.
This mind games
Chris,
by the Curse Spiritomb.
Chris, why are you staying in, man?
Here.
You can't stay in on Curse. I feel like because it should just go away if he switches out, right? It should
Yes.
just one of those like passive single time statuses.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, hits him with the knockoff.
Give him right.
Hard to play against Spiritomb. That's really all I can say.
Yeah.
Good revenge.
Gives up the
Cobalion. One of the first times we've seen Cobalion go down so easily. This is
yeah.
A lot of times
The thing does not die. Kind of gave it up there a bit, but sometimes you realize either A, you don't really need it anymore, or B, you just want to switch into something safer, like Fat Boy.
So now we can see that the first Pokemon gone on both teams is the MVP.
So valuable. Most valuable.
Some would say.
All right, we're clicking U-turn.
Clicking U-turn, real good here.
James said in the chat that was a roll. So, like you said before, Bullet Seed, Triple Axle, Tail Slap. You'd think the Fire Rockmon is no problem at all, right?
That's right. Wrong.
Smack him with the Aqua Tail.
No, apparently it gets Aqua Tail, which I didn't even
4
realize.
times. It's one of those moves that you look at when you're building a team and you're like, never gonna fucking take Aqua Tail on.
How does this help me against steel types?
This was. I honestly think at this point it's a pretty not so great look.
It's pretty done deal.
Yeah, Skill Link is super powerful. It doesn't even need loaded die. If Volt Switch did that much, Thunderbolt was never going to kill unless it crit. So yeah, I don't think he had much of an option there. But the Tidy Up was classy as well.
The Volt Switch is smart at least because this could be his fastest Pokemon left, and he'll at least kill the Cinccino. But the Tidy Up's really clever. Yeah.
Right.
Tidy Up, by the way, also clears the opponent's hazards, which was disappointing to learn.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is a little disappointing. Like a little weird defog.
Yeah, it's not Rapid Spin. It's more like defog.
Interesting. Do you think it? Do you know if it works with terrain, screens, or anything like that?
Screens, yes. Others, no.
Okay.
But anyway, great coverage. That's our first Cinccino sweep.
Yeah. We've yet to see Steel Roller. I know there was no terrain here, but if you're playing someone with terrain, flex on them with Steel Roller. It's fun.
I pulled that off in the Monotype League with Sand Slash when I played Natho's Tapu Bulu.
Mm. Sand Slash, Steel
Yeah,
Roller.
he brought Grassy
Wait,
Terrain against the Mono Ground team. Who'd have
I was
thought?
gonna say that wasn't the Monotype League. That was your
Oh yeah,
Monotype
yeah, that was my Monotype
League.
team. Same thing,
Yeah,
same
you
thing.
didn't have Sand Slash. I had
Nah.
Ground. Yeah, that makes more sense. This was another one of my favorite games this week.
This was a good game. We got Gentleman Skanky, old man. Sorry, not Skanky. Old man Ditz,
Skankiest legs. Old man Ditch.
and
Gentleman Ditch.
Skanky's getting freaky with that broom over there.
Someone has to clean up these legs.
Let's get into it, dude. I love Dragalge. I love that we're finally seeing the
I do
Dragalge.
too. It's pretty good. It's
a
pretty
unique-
good.
very neat Pokemon.
Bombardier is this is one of the first games I've actually seen it brought, and it was low key MVP
It was very good.
for the match, but definitely for Skanky. Its sheer presence just prevents stuff from happening, which I find is definitely a flying type sort of thing.
So this Jolteon is a problem
Oh,
because
This Jolteon
hey,
saw that there was no ground and
type.
got excited.
I'm gonna Volt Switch the entire game. I'm not sure if it's probably not Specs. Well,
I think it's Scarf,
Scarf.
but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe to beat Quiver or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Psychic Noise.
Love Psychic
like,
Noise.
oh,
That's one of
so
my new
goofy.
favorite moves that they added. I think it has insane draft potential.
It's pretty good there. It just didn't do a lot of damage, but I mean, it's negating. Well, it could be negating leftovers damage. I guess we don't leftovers healing.
I suppose there's situations in my head where you just keep clicking Psychic Noise every couple turns,
Yes.
and you're able to stay in on something, and it just can't heal.
Like Calm Mind, Slow King kind of deal, maybe.
That Thunderous nasty plot was huge. It's a shame that Sludge Wave didn't kill. I think this would be a different game. Because Jolteon, I don't think would kill from that position.
You said Sludge Wave, which is funny because if he gets Sludge Wave, that might have killed, but Sludge Bomb didn't.
Oh, that is true. It's only 5, but it could have been a roll, could have been a variety of things.
Well, yeah, because he only needed 5% more damage.
Damn, you're probably right. That's a tough position to be in, though. But luckily, Jolteon's there to Volt Switch. This drag can only take so many more, though.
Oh, also, these nicknames that Skanky brought remind me of like Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64. Those were the kind of names the computers would have.
What, were they just like anagram them?
Sometimes, yeah, like the names flipped halfway around themselves, or
Dozodon.
exactly, good names. I wonder.
AJ's waistband. Why do you
Also-
think Grimmsnarl is AJ's waistband?
We've already seen one Grimmsnarl dropped, and off of Chad's team or James's team?
James's. James was didn't realize that we had banned Light Clay, and was like, oh, turns out Grimmsnarl sucks now, and dropped him.
I still think Grimm is great, but it doesn't have a super good showing
Frank's-
here.
Prankster's always good in draft.
I know, so good. I think prankster screens are always pretty good. I think even without Light Clay, they're good. But
I've told you before. Right now, I'm really into one screen.
Oh yeah.
Where you just put one down and then rely on your other defenses or something like that. Because putting up the second screen is just wasting valuable turns sometimes.
Yeah, that's a lot of turn economy.
You don't need reflect or whatever for the opposite damage type that it does. I don't remember
There
which
you
one's
go.
which.
Yeah, great point. Well said. I wonder if the Thunderous could have stayed. I mean, I think it survives this Volt Switch.
I don't know. There's a
Maybe
chance
not.
that it's Scarf Modest or something like that, and Jolteon hits kind of hard.
Yeah, I guess it probably does die. If it did 22, never mind. That would have killed. Because it did 22 to the drag, which resists it. It would have done at least 40.
And
30.
has pretty insane natural special defense bulk.
So hold on. The Flygon is the switch in to drag. That's really interesting.
Well, at this point, we know that Flygon's faster. The ground stab will kill it if it's physical.
True.
But it's not.
yeah,
So I don't know. But at that point, it would kill.
Yeah.
But Bombardier comes in, only forced out by Jolteon at this point. This is where Bombardil really steps up.
Yeah. So good read on the ground move there. Gets your rocks. And Dragalge, unfortunately, is just relegated to being a Volt Switch absorber for the team.
So if he was normal, timid Jolteon, Volt Switch did 41 to 48
Against
on a
Thundurus.
normal,
Yeah.
default Thundurus.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the Red Seal doesn't do anything to the Dozo. The Dozo is leftover, so Psychic Noise is actually effectively dealing 12 extra percent every time.
Right, right.
I thought we were going to see Resto Chesto Blastoise there. We later learned that it's Assault Vest.
Right, I think it's just, spinner, pivot, big bulker.
But since it can't heal, this Dozo is actually pretty good into it. Very good into it.
Right now, I feel like Skanky has the big advantage here. And really only Jolteon is forcing these sort of things out. But Jolteon is also very deadly, especially in just a second when drag goes down and you have to start sacking, normal mons.
Yep. But the body
That's a
slam
good
on the Jolt is
Thunderbolt.
big, but yeah, good Thunderbolt, get the drag gone. And now it's all about setting up Jolteon for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised he hasn't sacked the Blastoise by now.
I think he might want to save it just for like one stray hit to get a safe switch in or something like that.
Oh yeah, and this is it's Roost Flygon, so it's fine that it takes the body press.
This is definitely a little bit of a stalemate.
Yeah.
But we see the rest anyway. Rest lefties is nice, but it's difficult to rely on Sleep Talk. I feel like when you really need it, it uses rest.
Trying to think of what each player would want to do. I mean, Ditz is kind of playing around like it's not paralyzed anymore. He needs a way to get Leaves or Jolteon in safely.
Right, right. And he doesn't want to sack Flygon because then that opens up well,
Skanky's,
I don't really know. I guess he could sack Flygon here, but I don't think he needs to.
Looks to me like Rabombi can come in on anything that Flygon's doing, and maybe that's the move because you need something that's gonna actually make progress on the Flygon.
Right, right.
Rabombi probably could have come in. This is okay. This is fine too. Gets a knock.
Force it out. We like the knock.
That was
a very good double switch. I think he literally to bait out the rocks instead of an attack because Jolteon getting knocked there would have been tragic.
But why not? I mean, maybe he's okay. I mean, maybe if you're scouting Scarf, but why not just start the Jolt? Like he could have just started with Jolt here and threatened a Volt Switch.
I don't know, maybe he misclicked. Maybe he wanted to bait out the rocks, because rocks don't actually net him all that much at the moment.
Jolteon.
But yeah, this is when he just, you gotta play like he's sashed, but he's not. Gotta play like he's scarfed. I don't know if he ended up being scarfed.
Yeah,
but especially against what's left on the board, I feel like you just gotta start clicking Flare Blitz. I feel like it'll do more than Extreme Speed. Maybe it does enough, or maybe it doesn't do enough to kill Flygon, but I feel like it could do 47% even resisted.
Head, yeah. Well,
let's see.
Yeah, because it's double the power of Extreme Speed, right? 80 versus 120 plus stab. 130 plus stab?
Okay, so even if with no, bulk investment at all, Flare Blitz does 35 to 42. So it wouldn't have killed because it looks like this Flygon's a little bulky as well.
Yeah, Flare Blitz may still have been better because then there's like, is there a burn chance? 10% burn chance?
I think so. Yeah.
Or crit actually kills, and Extreme Speed crit does not kill. That knocked us so much damage.
That was a crazy knockoff.
Birdier just, yeah.
That was honestly a pretty big crit too. I doubt it mattered for the Jolteon, but
No.
I think he had to sack something else there. I think Dondozo needed to stay alive, but
Maybe I think the most important thing is that there are no
actually it might
answers
have
to
been the
the
bird.
there's no answers to the Jolteon, and there's a
Mm-mm.
Pokemon advantage. So the Jolteon can just always get 1-for-1s and win the game
Right, right.
from this point out.
But only so much can take Flare Blitz, you know? But even
Yep.
so, what can you do? A very good game.
Yeah. Tight game, close game. The Dozo almost looked like it could pull it out. It just couldn't quite break the Roost Flygon, which really might have. I mean, the
This
Jolteon did
Leaf
a lot of
Blade
work, but
did so much. I guess
yeah,
it's neutral, but still.
I know you don't expect Leaf Blade to hit fire types like that. Whew. Oh, this isn't even choiced.
What did he do here?
Flare Blitz into Head Smash.
Yeah, Head Smash does do more. Why does it do more?
But if it's not Scarfed, it's not beating Jolteon anyway.
Oh, because it's 150, of course.
Head Smash 150.
Right, right. Oh, actually, Extreme Speed
Might have. Oh.
might have killed Jolteon. Jolteon only had 44% left.
Oh.
I
That
think it
was
very well
close
could
then.
have.
Well, it's 39% and takes rocks. So it's 27.
Extreme Speed does 44 to
Wait, wait,
52 on a very basic calc
wait. Okay.
with Jolly.
Damn, that was closer than I
So that
realized.
ended up being really close.
Yeah. Because I guess even though the
Wait, did Head Smash
Jolteon.
miss?
No.
Okay, it hit, yeah.
Yeah. Even though Jolteon kills everything, rocks plus extreme speed eventually kill Jolteon. Dang, that was
Yeah,
close.
so and that could have even been a low roll for the Head Smash, but
Hmm.
like I said, I'm not exactly sure what his stuff is. A normal Head Smash should do 44 to 52, so
Good
he must
game.
have had a significant amount of bulk.
All right, we got Reggie Peter against Tibbs. Reggie Peter with the default. That's Sinnoh for sure. That's the Sinnoh guy.
Mm-hmm.
Versus
And
American footballer Tibbs.
which is hilarious because Tibbs is British.
um,
Um, I feel like this is a pretty standard Tibbs team now too. We got Prima, we got Heracross, we got Snorlax. Every Peter team, of course, has Gallade. He loves his stupid Centipede. Everything else is pretty interchangeable for the matchup, but he's obviously got a scary team.
these 6 Pokemon are just so much scarier than those 6 Pokemon. The
On
six on
on aggregate,
Reggie's,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's almost to the point. Like other than Primarina, it's like Peter's
I
least.
mean, if Claydol and Aggron were, I don't know, Incineroar and not
Slowking.
Aggron,
Yeah.
it's a much scarier team. But Tibbs told me after the game that he had used Aggron in low tier before, and he's just not like holding up in the same way.
No, go figure. So Obstagoon lead. I think we've seen this before, but it's just gonna start dealing damage. Good coverage move there with the seed bomb. And it's not even. This is weird because it's not guts. It's not Flame Orb Obstagoon.
I wonder what. Maybe it was Defiant 4 Incineroar.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that would normally be a pretty good
You think Defiant
answer
Focus
to it.
Sash? I'm curious what its item is if not Flame Orb, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Expert Belt, perhaps?
Could be.
But honestly, whatever we're thinking of, Peter's 14 steps ahead,
Yeah.
and he's already
Yeah. Although speaking of steps ahead, this is a great Trailblaze. Scaring out the Obstagoon, hit the Trailblaze on the switch, and I think it actually
Mhm.
keeps Gliscopod at bay. Yeah, the Aqua Jet's clever because he knows he's going
It
to get forced
does.
out.
He has to Aqua Jet. So we see the facade, emergency exit out. If he gets rocks down, Gliscopod's dead. This close combat was really interesting
That close combat was not great.
because it's times 4 resist. Maybe I think he was going for a read, but honestly, nothing on the team can take a facade.
Yeah.
I think you just want to keep clicking facade and everything will die.
Yeah.
Um, Peter was in actually a very bad position on a guts burned +1 speed Heracross.
Yeah. Tibbs actually put himself in a really good spot, but the close combat.
And especially because that Shadow Sneak would have then killed if he was sashed on the Pede and only had 1 HP left.
Yeah, because
very different game.
You facade there, get him down to 20% probably, right?
Oh, if he wasn't sashed, I have no doubt that facade kills.
Yeah, even the facade doesn't kill.
It's enough, you know.
This is a bulky Decidueye.
It's an extremely bulky Pokemon. I really enjoyed using it when I did because I think it has a lot of set versatility.
Yeah, it's got great typing too. The Brambleghast typing we've seen be effective.
I think Brambleghast has Decidueye typing for what it's worth.
Fair. I don't know which one came first.
It was Decidueye. He's a Gen 7 starter, and Brambleghast is a Gen 9
Oh,
Pokemon.
Brambleghast is new. What about the anchor Pokemon? How old is he?
Delmai's also
Gen
debuted in Gen 7. Trevenant could have come out first.
Oh, Trevenant was Gen 5, huh?
Honestly, such a cool Pokemon. Wish it got more love. / wish it was better.
Yeah. So this dude's got the coverage moves, and he does. God, dude, he's so bulky. I mean, Earthquake's not the strongest move that could have been clicked there.
No, but I was really impressed with how Obstagoon just didn't die.
Yeah, I still would have expected to kill.
I always thought he was kind of a frail Pokemon, to be perfectly honest. Oh yeah, so Facade did 93 to 110
on the Gliscod.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, Gallade comes out and sees he can click Leaf Blade and does so. Although it just feel like it's another one of those weeks where maybe Gallade could have come out first and just kind of swept everything after Heracross died.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think people are starting to prep around it more. Like that bulky Decidueye probably fared well. I mean, we saw it only take 30 or something from what was it? Whatever.
I think it was a resisted poison jab, but I think you're right. I mean, when I played Peter, I thought I had a good Palisand set for Gallade, you know, but I didn't get a chance to use it because he has 5 other Pokemon.
Exactly. Dude, scary team.
So he storms his way to the top of the charts, or rather, he stays there.
Yeah.
Has he? He did lose a game. He lost to Robo week 1.
He lost to Robo and missed a game.
He also had to forfeit against Cam because he is a busy person.
Yes. So, Robert, the only person to beat to best Peter in battle this season. I wonder if it'll stay that way.
Let's see. He's got a +14 differential, and Gallade has 19 kills across 6 games.
That's disgusting. That's so good. That's
insane, right? That's actually nuts.
That's probably the best a single Pokemon's ever performed. That's like better than...
I think in our league, yeah. In our server.
Better than Reggie, Aleki, better than Zekrom.
It would have been Zeraora, James Season 3.
Yes. Zeraora, wait.
I don't recall.
But I think that's not a real Pokemon.
Yeah, Zekrom's a legendary. That's Reggie Peters' current team name.
I meant Zeraora then. Okay. All right, let's get on with it. We got Astro against...
Oh, this was another really fun match for me because I know Boz is doing ChatGPT prep, and Astro has developed a team where he doesn't really have to prep in the same way. He can just throw moves on a team and click buttons. And so I feel like it really came down to like them playing, you know?
Yeah. To be fair, he's
got a good team. Don't get me wrong.
I'm
not trying to discredit either one of them.
Yeah.
I really like the trades he made though. He was unhappy with his ability to click buttons on his team, Astro. So he got Pincurchin and some Quark Drive Pokemon and just
got button clickers.
He's got button clickers. Yep. There he goes, clicking buttons. I thought that was honestly kind of a bold
Bold stay.
stay in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know what Starmie could have. Its coverage is insane, and you hope that he clicks flip turn, but yeah, Grass Knot
Yeah.
definitely kills.
So
I think he's probably specs Scarf. I don't know.
yeah. On the topic of Gastrodon, I've run Gastrodon before. I'm running Swampert now, and Robo's running Quagsire.
Hmm.
Nathan's run Quagsire before to much success, but these
I run Gastro,
4X, these
Swampert. Love my water grounds. They're great.
oh yeah, they're awesome, but they're tough to pull off in draft league.
They can
Especially
be. They can be.
especially when
Random grass
it's
coverage.
exactly when it's a really like a really crucial wall like Quagsire or Gastro usually is, more so than Swampert. Um, it's so common for your opponent to just find a wacky grass move that their Pokemon got in some random generation and throw it on there.
You mean Generation 9 when everything got Trailblaze?
Trailblaze,
Like
yeah,
Beartic, like Swords Dance, Trailblaze to kill Gastrodon?
yeah. Um, it's just so tough to use these Pokemon where I almost feel like Protect is a requirement. If it's that important to your like defensive profile,
Or
like
you
your
have to build
opponent's gonna
around them and have something that just eats grass moves.
yeah,
A
exactly.
Sap Sipper, a Quad Resist on its
Mhm.
own, something that does not care
Yeah.
about grass moves at all.
And if you're not running Protect, then when you're against versatile Mons, like Gen 1 Mons especially, or Gen 9 Mons with
That Gen 1
Trailblaze,
privilege.
yeah, Gen 1 privilege, then you have to just kind of respect it until you know that it doesn't have it.
I was
Um,
I was bummed out. Astro drafted Starmie. It's one of my like most wanted to use Mons
really.
in the modern era. Yeah,
Um,
I'm a big fan because it is really versatile and it's just like a fun offensive Mon that also gets Rapid Spin and
yes.
Recover for some reason.
So, the
Gen 1.
story we've seen before turn one, button click makes it a 5v6, and now Boss has to.
And honestly, it blows open a big defensive hole in the team.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these other Pokemon are not very bulky, defensively sound,
Hmm.
and Gastrodon with its typing and access to recover, it's the glue to the team in a lot of ways.
Definitely. Um, so,
Decent damage
more
on the Stealth Rocks.
grass knots.
Gets
I
out of there.
wonder, it must have been Choice Starmie, I have to assume.
I'm thinking now it almost has to be Specs.
Hmm.
Maybe that's the other reason Boss stayed in.
Yeah.
Surely it's not Specs. That's the only thing that can kill me. Gets killed by Specs. I don't know.
By Specs. He's got other great switch ends for grass type Specs moves, but
Right,
Rocks
right.
instead, which opens up a Pincurchin Avenue.
That did so much. I love Memento. That Thunderbolt did a ton. Memento was crazy. Knows he has to switch. Gets a great Ice Punch read. Because honestly,
That was huge.
two of those Pokemon can eat an Ice Punch for breakfast. Necrozma, I don't know. Hell, I should probably take a chunk, but and then that'll bring him down to maybe below 50, which definitely gets a little dicier. But that was really smart. That was good for Mastro.
Yep, and on the burn term, so he was also threatening just to protect there. So the switch is like invited basically.
Right, right. He did really well here to keep up with the Roost as well.
Mm-hmm. Knock off on the Roost.
It's also insane that Conkeldurr can just click all of his moves and do all of this damage. And yeah, anything switching into close combat there other than Scyther
I will say
takes,
though,
50.
even though Boss wasn't making progress on the conch, he was burning through the only
Turns of terrain,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. Turns of terrain and Flame Orb is chip is Flame Orb chip.
Chip is chipping. And comes away with it at 72%. So unfortunately, that's
Nails
not
the
enough
hurricane.
for the hurricane.
They always hit when they're against you.
Exactly. And these E-Train, that Volt Switch, does so much damage. I forgot it.
I was amazed. So analytic is such an insane ability
Analytic
because
is
it works on
insane.
switches, right?
Mhm.
And the crit, maybe specs himself, just big numbers. I also do not think that the Cyclozar was spec defensively based on the other numbers it gets hit with later. Does bug resist bug?
No.
No, why would it?
Dude, I want.
The
What
wish goes up. I never understand how wish works.
does that mean? Yes, you do.
The wish. Sorry.
Yes, you understand it. What do you mean you don't understand how wish
No,
works?
okay, so the wish goes up, right?
Uh huh.
Sometimes when the Pokemon dies on the turn that it goes up, it doesn't come down.
No.
But other times it does come down, and I don't always know why.
Yeah. I'd like to point out um, how good a Sword Stance Scyther would be in this situation. Look
Yeah,
at him right
you would
here.
have a pretty hard time with it. Yeah.
I mean, this is a
On the
really fast Pokemon. The Starmie outspeeds, of course. But like
probably gets Trailblaze now.
bug flying coverage, pretty good against this team. Bug
Blind
flying,
coverage is always really
close
solid in
combat.
draft.
Yeah. Um, almost looks like a scary mom, but I don't remember what set it's packing. If we even get to see.
So
It is just gonna U-turn out of there though.
right. Flash cannon, of course it's killing. Goes second.
Of course, it kills.
Why doesn't the wish come down on Jugs? There it is.
That was the same turn it was used on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes it disappears, sometimes it
You're
doesn't.
right.
Maybe I'm crazy.
You're right. Hurricane misses once, but hits second time, so it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter. Yep.
Um,
Whatever. Give him up for anything else.
Magnezone is like the entire offense this game. And Pump
Smart to start clicking
takes it.
Hydro Pump because it's just not a whole lot you can do about it.
Oh, survives. I mean, it ends up close in the end. If this
It
was,
is, but it's also like he said, just click Dark Pulse 2 times, bro.
if we hadn't seen Stealth Rock, then Rock Polish weakness policy.
Weakness policy, yeah, for sure.
Maybe.
Well, Mach Punch comes in and kills Magnezone any day of the week, right?
Yes.
And all he has to do is tank one hit and knock off.
Dude,
And
Mach,
Necrozma almost always is going to
Mach?
die, right? I guess it's only 3-4.
Mach might
3/4.
not kill from 36.
No, sorry, for Magnezone. But he can knock Necrozma.
Oh yeah. But he wouldn't
Honestly,
be faster. So yeah, I actually think. I mean, we already saw Stealth Rock, so it wasn't going to be agility. I don't think, but there is that fear. But I don't think ChatGPT has ever done a weakness policy set.
I'm not sure. I know I know it runs Protect Blaziken a lot.
It does love some Protect Blaziken. So yeah, Balls managed to keep that close, respectably.
What was left on the bench in favor of Scyther? Chat GPT made this.
Porygon?
Lycanroc, Porygon 2, Sharpedo. Yeah, Whimsicott. Infinite possibilities. Any of those Pokemon could have been great. Scyther could have been great. Like you said, that Swords Dance there could have really turned the game around. But great game. Some good offensive play from Astro. And that, I think, technically puts him into the playoff running as well, because he and I have the same record. I just have a better differential.
Yeah, that is correct. There are four of you at 3 and 4 in Helix,
which is insane.
Yeah, Helix has been really interesting.
Especially because I think we have some interesting last 2 games coming up that are very important.
All right. This is the last match of the week between me and Trey.
Speaking of interesting games that have playoff implications.
Oh yeah, it's time for the team kills, as we say.
This is the first game of Trey's Gauntlet.
Yeah, his last 3 are me, Alex, and James, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough for a dude on the brink of playoffs.
It is. But he has a little bit. He's got a tiny bit of a cushion.
He does. There was
you could win 6-0 and he could lose by 1 and he'd still be ahead of you. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
there's
you know what I mean. Not technically,
2
but
game gap going into week 3. So there'd have to be a lot of tragedy for the playoffs to get shaken up on the Dome side at this point.
But crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have indeed happened. All right, so I'll talk about this one a little bit. I thought the prep for this game was pretty interesting because Trey and I have been mocking and battling each other all season, so pretty familiar with each other's teams.
Definitely. I did some of the prep with you and Alex 16 for this week for your side.
Yes, of course. Um, so
I mean,
from Trey's teams, the biggest threats, of course, are um, the Okie the Iron Jug, which he's been bringing every week. I was really afraid
don't blame
of,
him.
yeah, absolutely, the Electrode H.
Yeah,
Um,
understandable.
my only
Oh,
electric
Swampert
immunity being Swampert.
struggles
hmm
and
Um,
everything else. Sure, I'll Volt Switch.
yeah,
I I
Electric
personally kind of
Grass.
expected Registeel
Yep, I
just
thought
because I
Registeel was
think
really good.
Registeel's pretty solid. But every week's different.
Um, and Tentacruel is also pretty tough to break for my sweepers like Lucario.
Right, right.
Um, I mean, they have Earthquake access, but um, yeah, maybe. I guess Tentacruel
Well,
scares me more for a slower
physical
pace game.
physical Lucario probably doesn't have much of an issue against Tentacruel,
Yeah,
but
right.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. The
Um,
special set from last week would have faltered.
yeah, so I was also pretty afraid of. I was actually really expecting a defensive slugfest because I've shown that my team's vulnerable to status and slower play styles, and Trey's shown that he's good at playing that kind of way. And I've done the
Yeah,
same in the
he's
past as well.
really leaned into it this season, especially in the high tier league, and
Yeah,
it's been really working for him.
right. Um,
Slowing the pace of the game down is honestly sometimes it's just really nice, and I feel like it gives you more confidence to run like the crazy sets in the future.
mhm. So yeah, I was expecting a slow defensive game with probably like arresting Registeel, Heal Bell Diancie type of deal.
Right. That's sort of what I was expecting as well, based on this season and just the matchup in general.
Yeah. So my answer to that was going to be based around I have Rest Pert and Heal Bell Miltank.
Moonlight, Cresselia as well.
Yeah, so Cresselia, Swampert were meant to like absorb status and damage. Miltank could keep them healthy with Heal Bell. Um, and then that would open the door for Hax, Salazzle, and Scarf Whimsicott to be the main attackers.
hmm
I think
I feel like
also,
you put your eggs in the hacks basket
yeah,
with this team, knowing what you have on the board. Um, as far as an actual win con, because Whimsicott and Salazzle aren't. They're not going to win you the game. They'll get you into the winning position, but they're not going to beat some of these Pokemon.
yeah, I think the only setup move was on Hax, so exactly what you mean. They were offensive threats, but not necessarily win cons. And then I thought another really important piece of this team, it's kind of what I built the team around, was Future Sight Cresselia.
hmm
Future Sight was meant to keep pressure on Tentacruel and Okidoki, which are
Right.
often really safe switch-ins on my team, while also baiting out the Iron Jugulus which was his only
Put
psychic
him
type
in
immunity.
like inopportune positions.
Yeah, so I figured it could either be like a boot pivot Iron Jug, in which case I could stay in and Moonblast it, or it would be a photosynthesis sweeping Jug, in which case I could constantly force it out, make it to take rocks damage, and get his last threat in range of Whimsicott.
Is your little sprite Dragon Trainer?
No, this is Monty. He's the Ghost Gym leader from Gold and Silver.
Ah, I feel like it's just really apt in my head that Trey has picked Gary Oak.
He rocks it well.
He does. He does.
So yeah, other than the Electrode H, I was really scared of. Whimsicott was really my only decent answer. Haxorus isn't bad either. It is a bulky Hax. And these are the only
But
two
still,
mons that resisted
it's
stab.
bulky. He doesn't want to take the chip, even with leftovers.
Mm-hmm. But I expected Registeel, expected Electrode H, and definitely did not expect Articuno. That was
No.
obviously the surprising one here.
Until he brought it, I kind of forgot he had it.
Same. And we didn't get to see anything from it, so it's hard to say.
Exactly.
Um,
Nicknames. It took me a while to get yours
his are pretty
until I
straightforward.
saw Andy Gator, and I don't really know what his are. I just don't think he likes planes.
Yeah, he was on planes all day, and
Oh, because he was
anybody
on planes. Oh,
who
you,
was
yeah, you told me
traveling
that.
on
Okay,
planes.
okay. Fuck planes, dude.
Yeah, anybody who's flown planes knows.
I used to
Um,
love flying on planes.
yeah, there's a novelty to it. I hate I hate the stuff around the planes more than the planes itself. But I've also
Yeah,
been
yeah,
on
but
one or
that's part
two.
of the that's most of the experience,
Exactly.
realistically.
Been on one or two shitty planes, and I get it. Um, okay. So yeah. Like I said, I'm looking to basically future sight as much as possible this game.
I feel like
Um,
Leech Seed Bulu in terrain sort of reconfirms what you were expecting, you know? Uh, that this is gonna be a slow burn 50 plus turn game where everyone's still kind of at full
yeah.
HP by the end of it.
I mean, Leech Bulu's gonna do that almost. I mean, Bulu's gonna do that most of the time, whether he's offensive or
That's
defensive.
fair.
Leech is still
That's
good.
fair.
Um, but yeah,
Nice to spread some toxic around. I don't think he has any cleric ability here.
yeah, and
Dynasty might get Wish, but
well, it's got low HP. I don't know if it has Wish, but I see we're gonna
even
trade
if it
Spice
did,
here.
you know, fuck planes.
Yeah, multiple fuck planes. We got Andy Gator. This is a beat of beers if it's not
That's
clear,
a hefty bulk up. And honestly, the guard dog is so hype because Toxic Chain's
dude.
super good, right? We were talking about it earlier. It's every hit for anything. Um, and the only thing that you can do about a bulk up Okie dokie is phase him out.
Well, that was definitely plan A. I mean, I've got high horsepower, but I thought either he hits me with a choice item or he switches or he boosts. And I don't know what Guard Dog does. Actually, that's not true. Because like I said, I've mocked Trey a lot and I've brought Intimidate Pokemon against him, and Guard Dog like blocks Intimidates
Right,
and
right.
powers him up. So I was like,
It
okay,
it
well I won't do
raises
that.
from intimidate.
But apparently it's got another ability too, and nobody decided to tell me that.
No, it is extremely niche. I feel like either as a league or as a draft, we don't do a lot of phasing. Um, and yeah, it definitely has not come up thus far.
So yeah, I get joned by that.
That was a hefty drain punch.
Yeah, it was. And Drain Punch is not what I wanted to see. Because I've got
No,
ways, I've got other ways of dealing with it. Because
I have chipping it down, right?
I have this adamant high horsepower, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll chip him down over time. With that, I've got a couple other moves that can hit him. But the Drain Punch means he's probably going to stay healthy. Like, my best bet is, okay, he kills me, but doesn't drain a lot after it. Because, like, if this puts me at 57, it's like, okay, I'll take another one. I'll be at 14, and then I'll hit him and he won't heal from it, and then I can revenge kill. That's like the last hope.
Hulu works well with Dogi for Earthquake and Earth Power reasons. I suppose just Earthquake, but
Yeah.
Grassy Train suits it.
Oh, yeah, that's not an accident. I also thought I was going to take care of grassy
No, of course
terrain
not. Of course not.
because Swampert notoriously can't really heal himself.
Hmm.
I had bulky
He does
hacks.
lack in recovery for sure.
Yeah, so like I definitely brought a team to take advantage of his terrain as much as I could. But yeah, the reward doesn't work, so we're in trouble now. And yeah,
Very unfortunate crit for Trey. There's really just no two ways about it. I'm normally a big believer that like if you lose to a crit or a miss, then your game plan was somewhat fundamentally flawed, but I don't really think that's the case here. I think you just got a bit unlucky.
yeah,
Which is Pokemon, but yeah, that I feel that one. That sucks. Like you said, there is other counterplay around it, but that is an unfortunate position to lose the advantage from.
right. Like he had,
And I think the game changes pretty significantly because of it, is
mhm,
probably an understatement.
yeah, he had his best mon in. Well, one of his best mons. It had been set up, and he had kind of outmaneuvered me to put himself in that position. and
Right,
all of
right.
a sudden,
Full
like,
HP.
yeah,
He couldn't
it's
really ask for too much more. I'm not sure what he was going to be able to do to Cresselia, but I'm sure he gets a dark move, and I'm sure it would have hurt.
right. Um, Without the
But otherwise,
crits,
everything's kind of getting kind of getting
yeah,
blown up by it. Whimsicott's faster. Future Sight obviously hurts and would force it out, but it may not even get a chance to do so.
yeah. So here's what I'll
Hard to say.
say. If you could imagine the crit didn't happen, high horsepower from max attack pert would have done about 40. Um,
To a +2, +2.
yes.
Okay.
It would have done about 40, and then he would have healed a little bit, right?
Right. He would
Um,
have probably been at around. You said it does about 40. You have about 57.
yeah,
He would have had like 80 to 90 minimum.
80 to 90. Um, I've already cleared my Whimsicott stat, but I think my Whimsicott had Psychic, which should have done a lot. Um,
Yeah, the ×4 doesn't matter how much special bulk he has. That's
yeah.
gonna hit.
So Psychic plus horsepower would have had to kill, and if it doesn't, he probably wins.
Right. I suppose the other thing you could have done is go
Axe.
Salazzle and put the Toxic on.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you're corrosive.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all that does is put a timer on it. He's still able to heal a lot of that back. And what was his item?
Um, we didn't see it because he was never.
We didn't see it.
Not
Didn't
full,
see it. Not Shuckaberry.
not Shukaberry.
It could have been
Anyway,
Papaya.
I was
Payappa.
pretty screwed had this not played out the way it did.
Oh man, if it was
Just sad.
Payappa, that would have been tragic. That's the psychic one.
I don't know. The game just felt kind of moot after this. I mean, it wasn't easy, but
One of his biggest cannons is off the
yeah,
table, and you have answers for the rest of them.
yeah. And I think it turns
Um,
out that his team didn't really match up well and against my like status and healing and really defensive team. He actually brought some pretty aggressive sets.
he did, but they weren't. Well, that was the big breaker, right? Even if it Okie dokie didn't sweep outright, it still blew open several holes into your team.
Yeah,
But now you have all these Pokemon that can just kind of heal back.
yeah. Here's the Crest
You
Doom
know,
Little's designed to do is bait in the jug and
exactly.
trade health with it.
That's a great trade for you.
Yeah.
Double U-turn, of course. Keep coming in. Can't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, unless I get poisoned, this could kill me. It was really just
But you clicked Moonlight at the right time, so
um
again, now he can't.
no,
Now one Dark Pulse won't kill, but you know,
like nothing on this team does more than half to Cress at this point.
no.
So it's just I don't know.
And you still have every other Pokemon on the board.
Yeah. So at this point, like my defensive walls are really hard to crack, and then once I get hacks in on a good opportunity, it's just over.
That's not to say it was entirely over. It would have depended on what the other sets were, but you know, similar to you, it looked like he was funneling his focus into Dogi and Jugs.
This Salazzle set was
That was a great sub.
yeah, it was a
Oh,
good
I
sub.
did not know that Future Sight went through Protect. That was super interesting to learn.
Yeah, Future Sight is not yeah. Um, of course, the tap
I
you
guess
can
it's
kind
not
of
a
take it.
move. Like it makes sense, but very interesting.
So I usually wouldn't go to sub toxic Salazzle. I feel a little dirty. Um,
I remember you weren't particularly happy about it when it got suggested.
it was yeah, because it was an idea for the Registeel. Because my team prior to this had not Lucario, Noivern. It was Noivern here, and
Yeah,
Iron Defense Registeel fucked this team
e-
up.
right. Flamethrower non-stab with a full special defense Reggie did like 30
Mhm.
to 40. It was not enough.
Yeah. So
Um,
I built
Probably even less
this.
than that, honestly.
Yeah. I built this to counter the Reggie. I was excited to use sub lefties on grassy terrain because that sounded kind of unbeatable. That sounded not fun to deal with.
It's pretty good. This ended up being a set that just I don't think anybody would want to deal with this. All of the Pokemon that could normally deal with it are now getting toxic, you know?
He did have the leech seed on me, and I did fuck up the encore. The Leech Seed kept it from being
Too free.
too free. But I think I kind of realized at this point that all of his mons were taking damage, and
Yours really weren't.
I could be making progress faster. So I think now I'm going to start focusing on getting the hacks in and ending it.
This is, I think, a good example of why I don't really personally rate Bulu very highly, and it's not because he's a bad Pokemon, it's because he's a bad fairy type. He's a great Pokemon. Grassy Terrain's awesome. And he's got like decent coverage. He's got an okay move pool, but he doesn't get play rough. And Dazzling Gleam does fucking nothing to even if Haxorus came out right there and he Dazzling Gleam, like it wasn't gonna do anything, you know?
Yep. I guess this is the last mon I need chip on to make sure that it's in range for Haxorus. I said I was trying to end sooner, but yeah, I needed this guy chipped. I think just a little, so at least I can.
You got a position, you know, as and when you need to.
And it that high horsepower it used on Salazzle showed us that it didn't have a fairy move. That's what I was waiting for.
Right. But like I said, even if it did, your bulky hacks, it can't do anything except Dazzling Gleam you, and I can't imagine that doing more than like 40 to 50.
Yeah.
So tops with investment, you know. But why would he invest in special attack?
Yeah. So
it's a tough position to be in as like your go-to fairy, but you also have Dianacy, so Ironhead goes in here.
Yeah, it does.
Ironhead definitely goes in here.
DD, 3 attacks, a little bit of bulk, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Those pseudo legendary dragons, their base stat total is honestly enough to get them through most situations.
Yeah, Hax is pretty vanilla, but he's pretty good, and he is.
I feel like you know what he's gonna do, but sometimes you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I think that's what kind of defines the tier 1s from the tier 2 and 3, is that
well said.
A lot of times tier 1 just brute forces past. And he is second on the kill leaderboard now. He passed up Diggersby, so he's 14.
Nice. 14, not bad.
Does not have a 9.5 KD ratio like Galley. That's crazy. 19 and 2. But hey, we're climbing.
We're climbing. That's all of our games this week, right?
That is all of our games.
Chad and Alex are replaying sometime this week, and RJ gets the forfeit win over Eden.
That's right. I've got standings here. I don't know if my recording software is going to pick it up. Let's see. Kinda. We can look at them one at a time. In Helix.
Yeah. So Helix is honestly kind of a wild card, right? Yeah. It's not, because I think the top 3 teams are probably gonna make it. Maybe Cameron Ditzler just gets absolutely like dicked by wedding stuff and he crumbles and someone else takes his spot. Well, maybe Bommy does the same thing.
Robo could upset him on wedding weekend. I think that's a good time to strike. I guess I'd have to be looking at their schedules, because who else does Cam have? Robo and then Boss. I think it's pretty unlikely that Cam loses to the ChatGPT team. I don't think ChatGPT is going to put Boss in a position to beat Cam.
Yeah, you never know though. Maybe this is the one week where ChatGPT steps it up.
Sure. Bombi's got Reggie and Astro. Those are both scary games.
Those are very losable games. Well, to be honest, I would love for him to prove me wrong, but I'm pretty sure Reggie Peters going to beat Bomby.
Yeah.
I don't really know what he's going to do about Galley.
Reggie Peters got Bomby Skanky Leg, and he's just been playing so hot, brother. That's all I have to say.
Truly. Astro has shown that he could just win. He might just click buttons harder than you.
Yeah. Boss is in a tough position here. I
play Boss this week, and that's a pretty pivotal game. I think that will, for both of us, determine sort of the last week how relevant it is.
That could be the last playoff spot. Boss
that's what I probably think in my head. Especially if I win, I feel like it'll be hard for him to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I've been sending Natho some cash every week. just as insurance policy for this last week, in case I need him to
Yeah, for your last
throw the
week,
game
yeah.
for me.
So
Promised
yeah,
him first round draft pick next season, a cash prize. It's a nice benefits package. All he has to do is throw one game.
hey man. Um,
um,
so yeah, Boss, he's in this weird position where he's got a game up, but he's also behind in diff. So he's in control of his own destiny. I mean, he's not because he has a computer making his teams. But if he wins out, he's in. But if he drops one of either of his last two games, there's a horde of people ready to strike.
there is
Um,
also a very realistic possibility that Astro could make playoffs. His differential is not great, but he could win his next two games and go to 0, and differential might not matter. That I think that one depends a bit more on how other people do. But if he beats Balmy and he beats Natho, he obviously puts himself in a very winnable situation.
yeah.
So by the same logic, Tib is in the same boat playing Skanky Leg and Robo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a bit all over the place. I think that Helix will actually come down to the last couple, last week.
It will. Basically, yeah, all of these guys, all of the four of you in this hunt have a chance one way or another, and you pretty much all control your own destiny. If if anybody there wins out, they're pretty likely to make playoffs. I don't know. It's tough.
It is, and it's one of those situations where I feel like the possibilities are, while not endless, complex.
Right.
And to go over them in a small format would be difficult without more analysis. I do think that Reggie Peter pretty much just has to win one of his games, and he's already all but guaranteed. Same thing with the other people at 5 and 3, or 5 and 2, whatever their record is. So yeah, like you said, everyone really has their own destiny in their hands. Those 5 and 3 people would really have to lose their games.
5 and 2s, yeah.
That's it, yeah. But even then, 5 and 4 should be enough to send you through. Unless everybody else has 5 and 4.
Yeah.
Dome seems a bit more straightforward. I find it extremely unlikely, if not outright impossible, for James and
Nips. James and Nips are pretty much locked, right? I mean, with those diffs,
I think so.
Almost have to be.
James plays Trey and Chris, and Trey in a big game, Chris in not as big of a game because of Chris's record at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Chris can make playoffs.
No. I don't
think any of them. So, Redshirt, RJ, and Eden cannot. I don't think it's possible. It could be something similar if Trey loses his next two games 6-0, right? And Chris wins his next two games 6-0, he's in.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Not
but
limited.
It just takes some maneuvering.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say Nips
and some tough wins.
Nips and James are both pretty safe. Alex.
Ooh, Redshirt and Chris play this week, and that's honestly always one of my favorite games.
That is a classic. That'll be a good one.
They always end up in each other's divisions.
We have a couple gauntlets for our third and fourth place. We have Alex, who has to rematch Chad, and he's got me and Trey. That's a nasty schedule.
That is a very losable schedule for him as well.
And
for you,
Trey just played
Trey, Alex, and Eden is pretty tough.
Yeah. Trey's got James and Alex as his last two.
If you beat Alex, you could be looking at making a playoff spot.
Yeah, me and Chad and possibly Chris are just on the outside, where it's like, okay, if we upset enough playoff hopefuls, as a team, one of us might sneak in. It's really just about the Alex and Trey losses for those of us in the hunt.
I think it's Alex's spot to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he doesn't have to work for it, and I think it is Trey will have to dig deep.
Yeah.
James is not pulling punches right now.
No, the leaders on these divisions have some terrifying teams.
Dominating.
Yes.
Is a way to describe it. 17 and 16 differential is pretty impressive.
Dang, those are big numbers. To think I was
third place has the same differential as Helix first place. And potentially a better record. Yeah, but I have very much enjoyed this season. It's been extremely competitive. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Excited for the next one already.
Oh yeah, we've got some cool things cooking up in the mod chat
Cooking.
for we're working on preseason right now, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. It's going to be our most unique and ambitious preseason yet. So
Mini season.
mini season. That's yes, mini season. So get excited.
Um, we're probably looking to announce something about it. I don't know, maybe after the last week, before
No,
playoffs, so
before.
people can get their head around it. We
Oh
can gauge interest.
yeah, last week before
And I spoke
playoffs.
to Omerta, and he was going to do a post-season like not exactly a recap, but another like kind of PR. And he said he'd go through all the teams again, and then he would talk about the 8 that make it and what sort of chances he thinks that they have.
Awesome. That will be fun to look forward to.
So we'll look forward to that as well once we finish all of our games. This week is week 8, only week 9 left, and then playoffs, and then new season.
Biggest matches this
Put it
week.
on your calendars.
Biggest matches this week. Trey James, me and Alex.
Me and Boz. Honestly, I think most of the games this week are pretty impactful.
RoboCam's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Bombi Reggie will be good. It probably doesn't have playoff implications. It doesn't, other than seeding.
It could.
It could.
It could ever so slightly, but it'll be a good. Like they'll both have to try.
Mm-hmm.
They can't phone it in because it does matter, but it probably won't. But if it does matter and they kind of throw, then how are they gonna look at themselves in the mirror?
Yeah. Wow. So true. Yeah. Trey James, Bester and Alex, U-Boz, RoboCam, I think, are the ones to watch. We got a lot of good ones.
Definitely, definitely.
All right, man. Well, thanks for joining me. This was a blast, and
Thanks for
we
having me.
have
I very much enjoyed it.
a lot of good.
Can't wait for the
Pokemon
next one.
coming up at the end of the season, and can't wait.
Ooh, maybe we can do some live commentary for playoff games
That could be fun.
if we're not in the playoffs.
I like the idea. I like it.
You know me, I have lots of ideas. Many of them end there.
Speaking of ending,